Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Leilani Drinks the Brown Stuff, and I'm your host, Leilani, and we are once again in the renovated barn, still at the avocado ranch, and it's kind of cool in here, is it not? It's warm, I can tell you that, and I like warm. So tonight we are getting into this whiskey that I found at Target that was on sale for $3.
$3?
I mean, I'm sorry. It was $3 off. I wish it needs to be $3, and I'll tell you the reason why. But tonight we are getting into this $30 bottle that I found on sale at Target, Templeton Year Old Rye Whiskey. It is 80 proof. It is 40% ABV. And as a disclaimer, guys, I don't like to do whiskeys that have dealt with like lawsuits and have misled consumers in certain ways. I have shied away from this whiskey for quite some time because I knew about their deceptive kind of labeling, which made me sad because that's not what the whiskey community is about. Basically, they were getting their whiskey from MGP grains, and we've discussed this, so you guys know this, from Indiana. They were stating that they have the distillery in Iowa and that it was made in a small town of Templeton, Iowa. They made it seem this way, and that's why wording on bottles are so important. That's why I appreciate bottles of like Bone Snapper and other places that specifically say, hey, we're an MGP grain. And they don't all have to taste the same, but a lot of them do. The Bullets, the Templetons, the Redemption, and to find out like Whistle Pig is going through it as well is just a disappointment. It's just like, why? You don't have to lie about it. Just say what it is. Throughout the lawsuit, they ended up finding out that they had a loophole even on the making of the rye whiskey, because they were saying it was small batch and stuff. And they were able to do some things with the whiskey and do additives and stuff like that. So there were extra things added to the whiskey that a lot of people did not know about, which definitely sucks in the whiskey game. And I do not condone it. I like honesty. And if you end up getting caught doing something like this, just state, that you did it, and, it's part of marketing and advertising, and that's what you did, and move on. But even now, as I've delved into this whiskey some more, and they've changed the bottle, they've changed the labeling, making it kind of very, collegey looking. They state that it is ethically sourced, made in the USA, with imported grains. So again, that's just like, Now, even looking, they're supposed to state that they get their stuff from MGP grains now, and that's Indiana. So they do state that it's distilled in Indiana, but if you look at the bottle, they did it on this clear label that has the black that you can barely see it. So I guess that's something. But it was kind of weird just to see a company like, claim pictures of like stills that were actually still in Germany, that it was at their Iowa plant, to see like barrels with it sanded off at the top, and then have labeling of their distillery because they didn't want people to know that it was from another distillery, which is completely illegal. Like, you shouldn't have your liquor license after that to be able to make whiskey, but somehow, I don't know, maybe with all the money that they've made and consumers a lot not knowing about it, that they have been able to fight the battle and kind of just make it is what it is. So although I'm disappointed, I definitely wanted to get to this whiskey because you need to hear the story, you need to know the story. And if you're interested in that side of the story, you can go ahead and find out more. But let's get into this Templeton rye. And yes, that's disgust and disappointment in my voice on this whiskey, which rarely happens when I drink whiskey. But
Where's the whiskey love?
the whiskey love is definitely not here tonight. But I'm going to try. I'm trying so hard. The whiskey love is me basically doing an episode on this whiskey that lied. So there's the whiskey love for you. Oh, disappointing pop too on top of it all. Whatever. It does smell nice though. I can smell a little bit of the vanilla and caramel, a little bit of the oak, and some of the, zest. It's a nice smell. It's a good smell for a whiskey. So let's go ahead and get into this. Oh, woman's po. Woman's po. And I love ryes, guys. Oh, here, let me get that. Because mama don't waste whiskey, even line whiskeys. Yeah, more of that zest is pretty much pronounced. Everything else is falling aside. There is a floral scent that's coming through. Just slightly, like a sunflower kind of clean, daisy-ish. It smells nice. I like sniffing it, which is always good. So let's get into this. Golden elixir of MGP grains. There was a burst of sweetness, like honey at the tip. Did I feel like there was a spice? Not really on that first sip. It was very interesting. Definitely the taste of the zest, but it's not prominent. It's actually pretty well done and it tastes smooth. And that's the cool thing about MGP grains. Even though some of these taste like each other, and that's the reason why I can't stand them, some of them do a good job and admit to it. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you mix. So you're a mixologist. I like them too. Come on. Nice all over mouth-watery feel. It does have like a floral kind of sunflower kind of feel to it. Like you can feel the floralness of this whiskey, which is nice because you don't get that in a lot of the mass-produced kind of whiskeys. It doesn't feel like a rye. Like I can feel like I'm getting now some peppery notions in the back, like a black peppery kind of feel. Nothing too prominent to make me go, rye. It's just kind of subtle and there. An easygoing 80 proof rye. And the caramel and the vanilla definitely comes in as you drink more of it. You guys, it's not a bad whiskey. And it makes me sad, to know that this whiskey with the new packaging and all this new labeling, they still kind of haven't come to grips and terms with what they did. And as much as I want to really dock them for that, I can see why a lot of people still sip this whiskey and have no problems with what it did, because what it does now is give you a nice smooth mouth feel. So Leilani Drinks the Brown Stuff has to give Templeton 4-year rye, as much as I want to dock them for it, 3 kisses. Because it is easygoing. It is a nice sip. It's different with its floralness. It doesn't taste very mass-produced. It doesn't taste orange and zesty like a lot of these whiskeys I do taste. So it's a nice whiskey, and I might have given it more through clearer eyes, of not being so upset that this whiskey has misled a lot of consumers, but it's still a good whiskey. So to me though, with it being, they say that they stated that it was a small batch and local and all this stuff, For it not to be, and their price point is, $35, you can get a small batch local whiskey for $35. That's real, and that's good, and that's my only issue with Templeton. You can bring the price down, and maybe with that price point, it's even better. But for right now, it is what it is. Because they did what they did. You don't have to lie to kick it. Cheers.